Hello, YouTube. January continues, and depending on where you are and when you are, it's cold out there. Right now, I'm at a truck stop in, I believe it's Summit, North Dakota. It's a TA Express. Nice truck stop. It really is a nice place. I'm glad this little oasis is here on this stretch of Interstate 29, because there's not much else up this way until you get to Fargo. But I'm heading south. I'm actually on my way to Texas with a load of wheat seed, which honestly I'm kind of excited to haul it honestly, because it's going to end up going to a farmer in southern Texas, who is going to be getting his crop into his fields, I believe, basically not long after I get this seed delivered to a local warehouse facility, where it will be easier for him to come and pick it up and or transload it directly out of the bags into his seed tenders, or however he is going to execute his planting operation. I don't know. There's a variety of ways that planting can be done. I've seen the bigger, newer, more current machines that I've seen and or heard of typically have a large container on top of the system, and it feeds the seed down to the individual planting, the individual row planter apparatuses. I forget the plural. I think it's apparati. And then in turn can be reloaded on the go through top-down load, whereas older systems, or perhaps maybe smaller systems, the individual row planters have a container that need to be loaded with bags of seed or by a seed tender more directly, but that's neither here nor there. All I know is I've got about 45,000 pounds of wheat seed on. This is going to be, I guess, how Texas does winter wheat. I don't know how they do their planting. I know in the northern states, the midwestern states, especially in the more colder areas, folks who try to do winter wheat, they pretty much double plant, or they would do it, I guess what's called double cropping, where as soon as they're done with their fall harvest, they are either tilling and planting the winter wheat or whatever crop they are going to try to grow over the winter time, or instead of even bothering with tilling, they just go right into the field with the new crop and get it going. It varies farm to farm, process to process, system to system, and just preference to preference, I suppose. But variety of ways to do it. I don't know how this gentleman is going to do it. All I know is that I'm bringing him his seed, and I will be delivering that this coming week. That'll be very nice. So hopefully, by the time I get it offloaded, he has no problem getting his fields tended to. From what I understand, I guess for this area of Texas, their goal is to have their winter wheat in, or at least I guess you could say their January wheat in the ground pretty much before, right up to the middle of the month, in order to make sure that they won't run the risk of having a lower crop yield because they waited too long to plant, because Texas does get warm, unlike where I'm at now in North Dakota, where it is, last I saw it was 0 degrees with a minus 22 degree wind chill, which is some of the coldest weather I've operated in so far this year, but it does not quite come close to how cold it was in this area this time last year. I was on a 3M run for Werner. I picked up, I believe it was a trailer I picked up in Aberdeen, North Dakota. I think. Sounds right. Maybe was it Brookings, South Dakota? It was either Aberdeen, North Dakota, or Brookings, South Dakota. I really do forget which. I mean, Aberdeen could be in South Dakota for all. It's been, that was last January. This is this January. What was it? Right. It was so cold. It was, I think we had an overnight low in Sioux Falls. It was minus 20 degrees without the wind chill. It was cold. It was so cold that the Love's truck stop I stayed at in Sioux Falls overnight, all the pumps were frozen. The DEF was frozen. The diesel pumps were frozen or gelled or just whatever it was. There was no way to pump diesel. And the trailer that I had picked up, trying to think back and remember. Oh, right. The trailer I picked up was in, I think it was, I forget where it was. Anyway, the trailer I picked up to take to wherever it was going, we just had a cold snap in that general region. I think Iowa, Minnesota, and both Dakotas were in the negatives at this time. And so this trailer, no, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting my story all confused. I'm not even going to bother trying to redo this video. I'm just going to let it go as is, just be honest about it. I was bringing a regular dry van trailer up to Brookings, I believe it was, to a 3M facility up in that area. And I was dropping a load or an empty. I was bringing a trailer. Forget if it was loaded or empty or not. But the trailer I picked up was loaded. It was a reefer trailer, so it was a TCU trailer, but the diesel fuel had not been treated. So I was basically, I went to test the reefer unit to make sure it was good. Of course, it didn't start, wouldn't even turn on. It turned out it had a couple of issues. But when I opened up the diesel tank and saw, oh yeah, look, that's just, neon green jelly. So thankfully, it was a Thermo King TCU, and there's a Thermo King dealership in Sioux Falls, so I was able to get the trailer in, get it serviced. They put a propane burner underneath the diesel tank to get the diesel thawed, which is hilarious to put an active flame under a fuel tank, but then again, the fuel tanks themselves are, either good grade aluminum or steel, one of the two, if not some combination of the two. I'm assuming it's steel, probably aluminum, but still. Anyway, either way, it can handle the heat. It was fine. And then he blended, the technician who worked on the trailer, he blended that diesel that was in that TCU unit, TCU system with number one diesel, which for those of you who may not know, number one diesel is a much hardier diesel fuel blend. It is better able to withstand the ultra cold temperatures, whereas number two diesel, once you get down to or below about, I think it's 17.5 degrees. That sounds about right. Under 18 degrees Fahrenheit, and you are at risk of the diesel starting to crystallize and then gel up. And then once you get down below 17 degrees, unless you treat your diesel fuel, you're not going to have a good time, because that's going to, could clog up your diesel fuel filters, the primary and the secondary filters, meaning the primary diesel fuel filter and then also the fuel water separator filter could both clog, and that means if you can't start your truck, you're going to have a bad day. So treating diesel fuel is important. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm rabbit trailing, talking about what happened then versus what's happening now. It's cold out. I don't like how cold it is. It's very unfortunate that it is cold, but I am very glad that both my APU and bunk heater are properly functional, which is really nice. However, I think I probably will end up running my engine overnight, because even though I did treat my diesel fuel with some anti-gel winterizer earlier today, I would, just because I have that north-south exhaust pipe running between the diesel tanks, I probably would like to have that nice pocket of warmth right between the tanks, just to kind of help alleviate any concern or possible risk of gelling in case it did not put enough fuel treatment in. Even though I've been treating my fuel at every stop for the last, all week, even before I hit the road for this run, or this set of runs more accurately. So I've been treating my fuel since right before New Year's. Okay, so yeah, I've got pretty good amount of diesel treatment in the tanks, and I keep adding to it as I go just for safety. So I feel pretty confident that I'm not going to be at risk of having gelled up fuel filters or tanks, but at the same time, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and I am a-okay with burning a few gallons of diesel fuel overnight if it means that when I go to set off tomorrow morning, I will have no gelled situations, because the radiant heat of the engine block itself should, in theory, keep both of my fuel filters warm and prevent the diesel fuel from gelling up. And then the north-south exhaust should at least create the idea of a pocket of heat between my two diesel tanks. I've got about 100, somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 gallons of diesel between the two tanks, so they're about a half load. So keeping that warm is going to be important. Keeping it from gelling is going to be very important. So the heat of the engine and the exhaust, plus the anti-gel treatment in the tanks, should go a long way towards doing that. And then it's on towards Texas. However, I'm on short hours, which is really unfortunate. I ran a bit harder than I probably should have a couple of days this week, but you know, it is what it is. You got to get freight delivered. So I probably won't make it to this gentleman's delivery point until Tuesday at this point, unless I decide I want to, you know, just speed. But well, you know, I'll probably speed, but not like excessively. It'll be controlled. But technically, since the speed limit in the Dakotas on the interstates is 80 miles an hour, and I'll be running 70 miles an hour, I'm going to get run over by folks who run a heck of a lot faster than me. So, well, it is what it is. Anyway, I hope wherever and whenever you are at, you are warm and safe and comfortable. And if you're watching this on a beach in Hawaii, I envy you. Please send me a plane ticket so I can come and sit on the beach as well. That would be delightful. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. I'll see you down the road.